Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Turbo Tuesday Talk Show for another exciting episode. I'm your host, world-renowned Turbo Tractor, and today we will be hearing from a very tough and honorably brave vehicle from the town of Radiator Springs. Everyone, please welcome Sarge. Sarge, welcome to the stage. It's an honor to have you here on the show. Thank you, Turbo Tractor. I'm glad to be here tonight. How have you been? Not too bad. It's been a busy week, but I've been managing. How about you? I'm doing quite well, thank you. The business has been picking up lately at my surplus hut down in Radiator Springs. I've been thinking about introducing a few more products. Oh, really? What might those be? Well, possibly a few more options in mud tires and some of the new night vision goggle accessories. Those have been selling out fast lately. Fillmore has been bugging me about carrying some tie-dye colored tents, and he's been telling me that they were all the rage or something ridiculous like that. And I had to keep telling him no, of course, because the idea was absurd. But he kept bugging me about it, and I couldn't get a moment's peace, so I had to agree to carry tie-dye tents of all things. And sure enough, they've been a #1 seller. Wow, really, that's crazy. So I guess sometimes it does pay to listen to the hippie, huh? There are times when it pays to listen to Fillmore, but whatever you do, don't let him talk you into trying any of his psychedelic fuel mixtures. I had to drink a lot of harsh things in the military, believe me, but his psychedelic fuel mixtures made my insides catch on fire for the first time in 30 years. No kidding. When Lightning McQueen was on the show, he told me about Fillmore's drinks, so I guess I'm kinda not surprised. Well, that sounds like some sound advice, though. I've also heard that you run a boot camp down in Radiator Springs for SUVs. What are your goals with that? Well, I'll tell you, Turbo Tractor, there are too many weak SUVs these days. Too afraid of getting their paint scratched or getting dirt in their wheel. And my goal is to make them into real SUVs, who will do what they were built for. My goal is to make them tough and teach them discipline. They need to learn to be brave and bold and work hard. And that's what I've set out to do, and I've had plenty of successes. Plenty of SUVs have left my boot camp feeling like a real SUV, and I'm proud to tell you Sarge's boot camp has a 5-star rating. That's very impressive, Sarge. Hey, any SUVs out there who may be listening, pay Sarge's boot camp a visit if you ever make it down to Radiator Springs. We will be right back after this message.
Hello, race fans. I'm Murray Clutchburn, Piston Cup racer number 92. A lot of my friends have come up to me with the same problem. They're driving along just fine, and then they start to sputter without warning. Does that sound familiar? Is your sputtering getting in the way of your activities? Stop sputtering today with Sputter Stop Antifreeze, the proven formula to help you drive smoothly without any worries of sputtering ever again. Sputter Stop Antifreeze is effective to stop sputtering and prevent it. Talk to your health specialist to see about using Sputter Stop today, or visit our website, sputterstop.com, to learn more.
We now return to the Turbo Tuesday Talk Show. Sarge, I understand you have received a badge of honor for your bravery. Which badge was that? I was honored to receive the Gorilla Badge of True Metal after helping a friend during the Battle of the Bulge. It was a very trying experience, but fortunately both of us made it out safely. Well, would you please tell us about what happened? It sounds like an incredible story. I'm sure we'd all love to hear it. I'd be glad to, Turbo Tractor. Well, it all happened back in 1944. It was mid-December. My troop was moving along the western front along the Ardennes forest through the blistering cold snow. We were low on fuel and our axles were aching. It had been days since we had taken a rest. The piercing wind whistled through our grills and the freezing air expanded our bolts. We were shivering so much you could faintly hear our hoods rattle. The snow was coming down hard, clouding our vision in flurries. Our tracks did not last for more than 60 seconds before they were covered again in snow. And I vividly remember the sky was gray, and the sun was nowhere to be seen. The trees creaked and patches of ice cracked under our wheels. My friend James, a tank, was rolling right beside me. We were trying to have a conversation. I don't remember what we were talking about. All I remember is that we had to yell to hear each other over the howling wind. Our only goal was to advance past the forest and set up camp so we could be as warm as possible. But the screaming wind was soon interrupted by machine gun fire, and the flurries of snow were disturbed by flashes of light. At first a few bullets sunk into the snow, and then we were completely under fire. The Germans had surrounded us. We were under ambush. Everyone was yelling inaudibly and racing to get under cover. James was still right next to me as we plowed through the snow to get to the other side, when suddenly he was out of sight. I spun around to see that he was stuck. One of his treads had caught on a rock and he couldn't move. The bullets were flying and tanks and jeeps were running right past us. All I knew was that I wasn't going to leave James behind. I had to think fast. Before I knew it, I was behind him, pushing as hard as I could with all of my might. I was exhausted, and my axles burned, but I kept pushing. He wouldn't budge. I said, "Try to drive, James. Try to drive. Keep trying." As I pushed, he was slowly able to build up enough momentum by spinning his wheels, and right at that moment, I had a sudden burst of strength that was enough to free him from the rock, and we were both on the move again. This time, we didn't look back. The bullets were pelting against the ground, and the Germans were approaching over the horizon. All we could see were their shadows through the ferocious snow. We didn't have much time, so we raced as hard as we could, harder than we ever knew we could. We gave it everything we had to press forward. Our fuel tanks were approaching zero. Our engines began to sputter. We lost track of time as we raced through the snow. It felt like we were moving faster than the wind, and before we knew it, we had made it to camp and were resting by the fire. We didn't know how we'd made it, but we did. James was very grateful to me, and after the battle, I was awarded the Grill Badge of True Metal. That is truly incredible, Sarge. You really do deserve that Medal of Honor. I can't think of any times when I've known a car to be more brave. I'm honored that you think so, Turbo Tractor. It was all in the line of duty. Well, Sarge, it's been great hearing from you about your experiences. I'm sure we'd all love to have you on the show again. But as much as I'd like to hear more, I'm afraid we've run out of time today. Is there anything else you would like to say before we close? Thank you for having me on the show, Turbo Tractor. I've enjoyed telling you guys of my experiences. I don't get this opportunity very often. All I can say before we close is, never be afraid to be bold or help out a friend in need. Thank you, Sarge. That'll wrap it up, everyone. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday for another episode of the Turbo Tuesday Talk Show.